They told you to stay busy. They said busyness is proof that you matter, that you are valuable, that you are winning. But Seneca, the Roman philosopher who wrote about the shortness of life 2,000 years ago, would call that belief what it really is: theft. Every time you brag about how busy you are celebrating the sale of another piece of your life that you will never get back. Think about this. You guard your money. You protect your possessions. You even lock your doors at night. Yet you give away hours of your life like they mean nothing. Seneca put it bluntly. It is not that we have a short time to live, but that we waste a lot of it. Your life is not short. It only feels short because you are letting the noise of endless tasks consume it. Picture your phone calendar lit up in red, back-to-back meetings, alerts every 15 minutes, emails, pings, calls. The modern badge of honor is not peace, not freedom, not meaning. It is an overstuffed schedule. You wear exhaustion like it is a crown. But the truth is darker. You are not busy because you chose to live. You are busy because you let others dictate how you live. So let me ask you, when you are 80 years old and looking back, what will you regret more? The emails you answered at midnight, or the mornings you never shared with your children? The promotions you won, or the days you never gave yourself to breathe, to think, to love? Busyness is not success. It is the slow erosion of your one irreplaceable resource. In the next 20 minutes, I will show you why busyness is not a personal quirk, but a cultural disease. I will bring you Seneca's philosophy, evidence from modern psychology and neuroscience, and real stories that may sound uncomfortably close to your own. And more importantly, I will show you the practical tools to reclaim your time, to stop wasting your life, and to finally become the true owner of your days. Seneca was not just a philosopher who wrote clever words on parchment. He was a man who lived under pressure, who served as advisor to emperors, who saw firsthand how men wasted their lives chasing rank, wealth, and favor. His most famous essay, On the Shortness of Life, is a warning disguised as wisdom. It is not a cry that life is too short. It is a revelation that we waste most of it on things that do not belong to us. When Seneca says waste, he is not talking about laziness. He is not condemning rest or leisure. He is condemning the hours we surrender to the demands of others without reflection. The mornings lost to obligations we did not choose. The decades traded away in the service of goals that were never our own. For Seneca, the tragedy is not that death comes too fast. It is that we hand over our days willingly, as if they were worthless tokens. This is why he draws a sharp line between otium and negotium. Otium, in Latin, means leisure, but not in the shallow sense of idleness. For the Stoics, otium was the time you used to cultivate your mind, to reflect, to write, to pursue philosophy, to shape your character. Negotium, by contrast, means business, literally, the negation of otium. It is the endless grind of tasks, obligations, transactions. Seneca argued that most people bury themselves in negotium, believing they are living while in truth they are only existing. Think about that distinction in today's language. Otium is deep time. Time for thought, for learning, for building something meaningful. Negotium is busy work, checking boxes, replying to emails, racing from one meeting to the next. Otium is the space to design your life. Negotium is the noise that prevents you from even asking what life is for. Seneca's point is radical even now. He is not telling you to stop working. He is telling you to reclaim ownership of your hours. He insists that you must be the master of your time, not its servant. If you are not intentional, your time will be consumed by other people's agendas. And when that happens, you will discover that while you thought you were building a life, you were in fact only building chains. Fast forward to the modern age. Busyness has become a form of social signaling. Researchers at Columbia and Harvard have found that in contemporary culture, people flaunt their busyness as if it were a luxury good. Saying "I am busy" signals importance, status, and value. It has replaced the old display of wealth with a new display of scarcity. We do not show off our gold watches, we show off our overcrowded calendars. But why do we participate in this game? Seneca would say it is because we are afraid of silence, afraid of stillness, afraid of being left alone with ourselves. So we hide inside busyness the way a child hides under a blanket. The noise protects us from confronting questions we would rather not ask. Who am I when I am not performing? What do I truly value? What would my life look like if I stopped obeying the demands of everyone else? This is why Seneca urges us to live with intention, to measure every activity against the question, does this belong to me, or am I borrowing my life out to someone else? He believed that unless we live deliberately, we are not living at all. We are simply renting out our days to whatever happens to demand our attention. So here is the map Seneca offers. If you want to separate good busyness from destructive busyness, ask 3 questions. First, does this activity serve a goal I have freely chosen? Second, am I the owner of this time, or has it been stolen by external demands? Third, does this use of time shape me into a better human being, or does it leave me hollow? If the answer is no, then you are not living, you are wasting. With Seneca's philosophy in hand, we now have a lens. But philosophy is only the beginning. To see how busyness consumes real lives, let us turn to stories. 4 stories of modern people who look successful on the outside, but who reveal the silent tragedies Seneca warned us about. Case A, the CEO who sold his evenings. He wakes up before dawn, already scanning his inbox. By the time he walks into the office, his calendar is a battlefield, every slot filled with back-to-back meetings. He wears it like a badge of honor, telling colleagues, "I am slammed today," but the cost is hidden. Tonight, his daughter is performing in her first school concert. He promised he would be there. The concert begins. Children take the stage. The parents cheer, but his chair remains empty. In the front row, his daughter scans the audience, searching for the one face she needs. At that moment, his phone lights up with another meeting that ran late. He types, "I am sorry, stuck at work." The text arrives just as the music starts and the smile falls from her face. Why did he choose the meeting over the memory? Because in his world, busyness is rewarded. Status is measured by how unavailable you are. Seneca would have called it a betrayal, not only of the child, but of the man's own life. He exchanged a piece of his daughter's childhood for another hour of negotium. He will never buy that hour back. Case B, the creator who never stopped producing. There is another story, a young entrepreneur celebrated for his hustle. He runs 3 projects at once, posts daily content, answers messages at midnight. His followers admire his stamina, calling him relentless. But behind the screen, he feels strangely empty. He has no time to read, no time to think, no time to sit with his own mind. The more he produces, the more hollow he becomes. Success has given him attention, but it has stolen reflection. He cannot remember the last time he felt still. Even his so-called vacations are turned into content. His identity is busyness itself. If he stops, even for a day, he fears he will vanish. Cal Newport calls this the trap of shallow work, the endless churn of activity without depth. Seneca warned about the same trap 2,000 years earlier. A man who never enters odium is not living. He is running on a treadmill that goes nowhere. The creator is praised for his output, but his inner life has been left bankrupt. Case C, the parent who was always absent, a mother, dedicated, ambitious, constantly traveling for work. At first it feels temporary, just until the next promotion. But the years blur together. Dinner is eaten on planes. Family nights are postponed. The children grow up in the space between phone calls. At home, the kids stop expecting her at the table. They stop asking her to read bedtime stories. Eventually, they stop sharing at all. The family bond dissolves, not because she did not love them, but because her time was swallowed by endless obligations. Seneca wrote that life is long enough if you know how to use it. Here is the tragedy. She had the resources to provide everything for her children except herself. Busyness did not only cost her presence, it stole the very relationships that give life meaning. Case D, the influencer who sold the hustle. Finally, the influencer. Every post is a sermon on grinding. He brags, "I work 18 hours a day." He films his cluttered desk at 2 in the morning, his followers cheering him on. They see discipline, sacrifice, greatness in the making. What they do not see is exhaustion, burnout, the slow collapse of a mind that never rests. But the damage does not stop with him. His hustle becomes a cultural script. Thousands of young men and women imitate his lifestyle, believing that exhaustion equals worth. Studies show that busyness is now a status signal. We perform busyness for each other, infecting the culture with the belief that to rest is to fail. Seneca would not be surprised. He said most people are not living their own lives, but are carried along by the habits of the crowd. The influencer is not just wasting his life. He is helping waste the lives of everyone who believes his performance. Busyness spreads like a meme, and the cost is measured in wasted years. Together, these stories form a single pattern. Different faces, different roles, but the same core tragedy. People mistaking activity for life, mistaking a crowded schedule for meaning, mistaking exhaustion for virtue. Seneca warned that the crowd will carry you if you do not resist. These stories prove that 2,000 years later, his warning has become reality. So the question becomes unavoidable. If busyness consumes not only individuals, but families and entire cultures, what evidence do we have? Is this just philosophy, or does modern science confirm what Seneca already knew? Philosophy is powerful, but it always invites the skeptic. Maybe you think this is just ancient wisdom dressed up for modern times. Maybe busyness is not so dangerous after all, but the data says otherwise. Modern psychology, neuroscience, and even global health organizations are now confirming what Seneca diagnosed 2,000 years ago. Start with attention. Herbert Simon, a Nobel laureate in economics, wrote that a wealth of information creates a poverty of attention. The busier our lives become, the more scattered our minds. Our era is flooded with information, yet our capacity to focus has diminished. We live as if every alert, every ping, every headline demands us, and in responding to all of them, we are incapable of concentrating on any of them. Stanford researchers put this to the test. In a landmark study, they examined heavy media multitaskers, the people who prided themselves on juggling tasks. The results were devastating. Multitaskers performed worse in every cognitive measure. They were more easily distracted. They retained less information. They struggled to filter the irrelevant. Busyness, it turned out, did not make them efficient. It made them incompetent at the very skills they believed they had mastered. The damage is not only cognitive, it is physiological. The World Health Organization has officially recognized burnout as an occupational phenomenon. Defined by exhaustion, cynicism, and reduced professional efficacy, burnout is the inevitable outcome of an always-on culture. The body is not designed for permanent alertness, yet busyness keeps us in a state of chronic stress, slowly corroding both our health and our humanity. Research on time and well-being drives the point even deeper. Scholars like Ashley Willens at Harvard have shown that people who prioritize time over money consistently report higher happiness, better relationships, and greater life satisfaction. Buying time, whether by delegating chores or by carving out moments for leisure, is not a luxury. It is a predictor of well-being, yet our culture reverses this truth. We hoard money and squander time when it should be the opposite. Sociologists have also confirmed the social signaling of busyness. Studies from Columbia Business School reveal that in modern societies, busyness itself functions like a status symbol. When people say, "I am too busy," they are not apologizing, they are boasting. It signals that their time is in such demand that it must be valuable. But this performance has costs. It traps entire communities in a spiral where no one dares slow down for fear of looking unimportant. Look at the broader consequences. Families fracture because parents are too busy to be present. Communities weaken because citizens are too busy to participate. Creativity withers because minds are too scattered to think deeply. Democracy itself suffers because busyness leaves no room for reflection, no time to weigh truth from propaganda. A society that cannot pause is a society easy to manipulate. Seneca would call this the ultimate tragedy, not just the waste of individual lives, but the waste of a civilization's potential. He believed that philosophy was not a luxury. It was the art of living, the practice of owning your time. Without it, people become slaves not to masters, but to the clock. Modern science has given us the data, but Seneca gave us the language. What we call burnout, distraction, and time poverty, he simply called wasting life. So the warning is clear: busyness is not a harmless habit. It is a structural disease eroding our minds, our health, our families, our society. And unless we confront it, it will only grow. Which brings us to the darkest truth. What happens when you reach the end and realize that all your busyness was nothing more than borrowed time? Picture this. You are lying in a hospital bed, the monitors beeping softly. Around you, the people you love stand silent. Someone places an old photo album in your lap. You flip through the pages, searching for memories that matter, but most of the pictures are missing. The years you thought were full were nothing but schedules and deadlines. The calendar is empty now, and so are the moments you wish you had lived. When researchers ask the dying about their greatest regrets, the answers are almost never about money. They are about time. They regret not having the courage to live a life true to themselves. They regret working too hard. They regret failing to express love, to nurture friendships, to give themselves permission to be happy. No one says, "I wish I had answered more emails." No one says, "I wish I had attended one more meeting." Seneca knew this long before modern surveys confirmed it. He warned that if you do not master your time, time will master you. "Life is not short," he wrote. "You are simply wasting it. And when the end arrives, you will see the truth too late." Busyness does not make you important. It makes you absent. Absent from your family, absent from your passions, absent from your own soul. Think about what busyness really is. It is not just activity, it is avoidance. We stay busy so we do not have to face silence. We stay busy so we do not have to confront the emptiness we fear. But in avoiding that confrontation, we build a life of noise without meaning. Seneca called it slavery. Not slavery to another man, but slavery to the crowd, to the calendar, to the illusion that motion equals purpose. The darkest truth is this: you are not busy because you chose it. You are busy because someone else is renting your hours. Your company, your culture, your peers, even your phone notifications, they all profit from your busyness. You are not the owner of your life. You are the tenant paying rent with days you will never recover. And yet, you do not have to remain there. Every moment wasted is a tragedy, but every moment reclaimed is a victory. Seneca believed that even at the end of life, it was possible to live fully, if only for a day. The question is whether you will wait until your last breath to begin, or whether you will choose now. So ask yourself, what meeting are you willing to trade for your child's laughter? What deadline are you willing to exchange for a walk with someone you love? What busyness will you abandon before it abandons you? The choice is brutal, but it is yours. And in that choice lies the possibility of freedom. Seneca never left us with despair. His words were not meant to paralyze, but to awaken. He believed that even if you had wasted years, even if you had given away decades to the noise of the crowd, you could still reclaim your life. His philosophy was never about abandoning all responsibility. It was about becoming the master of your time. True freedom, he insisted, is not wealth or status. It is ownership of your days. The first step is awareness. Audit your hours. For one full day, write down everything you do every 15 or 30 minutes. Then ask of each activity, was this mine or was this borrowed? Did it serve a goal I chose or was it dictated by someone else? This simple practice will shock you. You will discover that much of your so-called busyness does not belong to you at all. It belongs to the agendas of others. The second step is to carve out what modern writer Cal Newport calls deep work, and what Seneca would have recognized as odium. Block 90 minutes 2 or 3 times a week where you are unreachable. No notifications, no multitasking, no shallow interruptions. Use that time to read, to think, to create, to reflect. Guard it as fiercely as you guard your money. This is where meaning grows. Without it, your life will be nothing but shallow churn. The third step is to kill the pointless rituals, meetings without agendas, obligations that drain but do not build, social events you attend only out of fear of missing out. Seneca said, "Associate only with those who can improve you." Apply the same principle to your calendar. Say no to what steals your hours. Say yes only to what strengthens your soul. The fourth step is to redesign your relationship with technology. Cal Newport calls it digital minimalism. Try a 30-day experiment. Remove apps that steal your attention. Replace them with face-to-face conversations, long walks, books that challenge you. Every hour freed from digital noise is an hour returned to your control. The fifth step is to buy time where you can. Research from Harvard shows that people who spend money to save time are happier and less stressed. Outsource chores, automate tasks, trade money for hours that you can invest in living. Seneca would smile at this. He warned that people are frugal with money but lavish with time. Reverse that equation. Treat your hours as the rarest currency. Alongside these steps, adopt small daily practices. Each evening, review your day. Ask, what did I truly live today? Each morning, remember mortality. Ask, if today were my last, would I spend it this way? These are not morbid questions. They are liberating ones. They remind you that life is short only when it is wasted. To make this real, I challenge you to a 7-day detox from busyness. Day 1, track your time. Day 2, cancel 1 recurring meeting. Day 3, protect 1 deep work block. Day 4, shut down screens after dinner. Day 5, buy or delegate 1 task. Day 6, take a reflective walk without your phone. Day 7, design the next week with intention. 7 days to test whether you own your time or whether time owns you. Seneca's voice echoes across centuries. Life is long if you know how to use it. You cannot control the years you have left, but you can control what you do with this day, this hour, this moment. Freedom is not in the future. It is in the decision you make right now. The question is simple. Will you continue to boast about being busy, or will you finally begin to live?